Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines of the Voice. You just saw the story that we recently released, and it was dealing with the CDC statistics with regards to an atrocity that is affecting our nation, as well as possibly a lot of other places here on the planet. The story that I'm referring to was just uploaded about an hour ago, and it's the CDC warns of overdose deaths as they hit an all time high. Now, the two stories that I'm sharing with you right now that I will be showing you are specifically two different instances in California as well as Phoenix, Arizona. There were two drug trafficking situations that were happened. Now, at the end of the second story, you will find that the author of the actual article feels as if the lax, guarding of our southern border is quite possibly the reason for that. But I just want to tell you that there is no one that we can think of today that has not been affected or has not been traumatized by the opioid as well as the um, fentanyl and all these other things. There's nobody that you know. Everybody that you know, at least one person has been affected by this, and it is a sad situation. Now, the stories that I'm going to show you right now are going to be followed up with a bit of Superior Court follow up, as well as some DA warrants that were released. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the first portion for you and just go ahead and watch this, and I'll be right back. Two drug traffickers in California who were arrested about a week and a half ago in possession of 150,000 fentanyl pills, enough to kill millions of people, were released back onto the streets, officials said. Jose Zendejas, 25, and Benito Madrigal, 19, both from Washington State, were arrested during a traffic stop that turned into a drug bust in Tulare on last Friday. They were both booked into the Tulare County pretrial facility on charges of possession, transportation, and selling of illegal drugs, officials said. The Tulare County Sheriff's Office received a court order to release both suspects from custody on their own recognizance, officials said. All inmates that are booked into Tulare County jails are sent through what is known as a risk assessment process through the Tulare County Probation Department. That risk assessment is then sent to a judge with the court, who then determines whether or not the individual arrested is held on bail or if they are to be released, the Tulare County Sheriff's Office added. Sheriff Mike Boudreau said he strongly disagrees with the decision to release the traffickers, citing public safety concerns, but said his office was forced to comply with the court order. Investigators seized 150 packages with 1,000 fentanyl pills in each, enough to potentially kill several million people. Officials add that the pills on the street go for about $5 each, meaning the bust netted $750,000 worth of deadly drugs. Police found a huge number of suspected fentanyl pills tucked inside a spare tire in a Phoenix, Arizona drug bust just recently. Authorities said officers performed the illegal drug investigation on Wednesday, and they made the discovery on 27th Avenue and Bethany Home Road, Fox 10 reported. Phoenix police shared photos of the tire and the plastic bags containing what appeared to be blue pills. The agency said 20-year-old Alexa Magana was booked for possession and transportation of narcotic drugs for sale. Fentanyl was described as a synthetic opioid, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Some drug dealers are mixing the fentanyl together with other drugs such as heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and MDMA. This is because it takes very little to produce a high with fentanyl, making it a cheaper option, the institute continued. This is especially risky when people taking drugs don't realize they might contain fentanyl as a cheap but dangerous additive. They may be taking a stronger opioid than their bodies are used to, and it can become more likely to overdose. Like heroin, morphine, and other opioid, fentanyl works by binding to the body's opioid receptors, which are found in areas of the brain that control pain and emotions. After taking opioids many times, the brain adapts to the drug, diminishing its sensitivity, making it hard to feel pleasure from anything besides the drug. Deaths from drug overdoses rose 15% during President Biden's first year on the job. Data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention revealed 107,000 people have died from an overdose last year, according to the data, and more than 80,000 of whom died from opioids. Meanwhile, deaths from fentanyl continue to grow as Biden pursued open border policies, allowing more drug smugglers into the United States. The outlet continued. For the Lockhart Perspective, this is Felicia Lockhart. Okay, now as we have to give the tag there, I guess. So as we see, there was two different cases, one in California as well as one in Arizona, both regarding or surrounding fentanyl. Now, there are several people who have struggled with opioids. There are several people who rightfully need medication to help them cope with pain of different degrees and different levels. That's not what we're here to talk about. I think for me, the most pressing piece is the fact that these two individuals had 150 some odd thousand pills and they were released on their own recognizance. Now, I don't know who gave the judge the call, but somebody definitely made sure that, yeah, it was done. Now, there's another thing here because there was no notification to the DA's office, according to this article that we're going to cover. And again, we are simply reading these because we did look at the stories that we saw not long ago, just within the last hour that I posted with regards to the CDC's number, and they are alarming at best. Now, this story is going to cover the local leaders that speak out against the situation after the suspects in the fentanyl bust were released from jail. In Tulare County, California, arrested, then released. Tulare County Sheriff Michael Boudreaux is questioning why the two suspects are back out on the streets after being taken into custody for drug trafficking $750,000 worth of fentanyl pills. Both the Tulare County Sheriff's Office and the district attorney say they're frustrated and they were completely unaware of their release over the weekend. Sheriff Boudreaux is quoted as saying, "I doubt very seriously we'll see them again without a warrant for their arrest. We had not even received police reports, and I'm not sure that the sheriff's department had completed all the reports. So how can a decision of this magnitude," he asks, "be made until you know all of the facts?" This comes from the district attorney, Tim Ward. 25-year-old Jose Zenejas, as well as 19-year-old Benita Madrigal, were pulled over by the CHP on that Friday night, and they were held that Friday night with the help of the Tulare deputies. The investigators say the two suspects had 150,000 fentanyl pills hidden in their vehicle. They also said, quote, "These are people heavily involved in drug trafficking organization." In a drug traffic organization, absolutely they are. And they're being released back on our streets here in America. It goes on to say that the case was set to be handled by the Tulare County's DA office on Monday, but never made it to their desk. He also added that neither of us were aware Monday morning that this had happened over the weekend. That's when Ward said that he called the sheriff to find out what happened. And it goes on to say, quote, "They did everything via computer. They just looked at the booking charges. They didn't contact the sheriff's office. The office they did not contact." He says they didn't contact me. As you can see, it's literally written that way. It's not me. It's written that way. They did not contact the sheriff's office. They didn't contact me. They didn't contact the investigators, explained Sheriff Boudreaux. He also goes on to say that over the weekend, the probation department had performed a risk assessment and declared that the suspects were very low risk to become repeat offenders. Okay, this is their haul right here. Do you see that? Let me make it a little bigger for you so that you can get a good gander of why they were not a risk. Okay? This is why they were not a risk. They weren't a risk. You see that? This is theirs. Each one of these bags had several pills in them. There were 150 bags, I believe they said, with 1,000 pills each. Excuse me. It says it certainly sends the wrong message to the community right now. We're on standby to get police reports, and then oddly, we started getting phone calls at the front desk about why we released these people. Ward added. Authorities say that the two suspects were heading to their home state of Washington. Officials believe the suspects are a part of a drug trafficking organization operating in Mexico. The sheriff says, quote, the significance and the magnitude of this case alone would argue that these people need to be held in custody just based on good common sense. And that's not what happened here. The Tulare County Probation Department sent out a statement on Tuesday night, writing in part, the probation department does not have the authority to order the release of inmates, and we did not make a recommendation for release of these individuals. The assessment process is not done behind the scenes. The development and implementation of pretrial functions in Tulare County was a collaborative and transparent process involving representatives from our law enforcement partners. That's a lie. I said it. That's a lie, plain and simple. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? If both the sheriff as well as the DA's office is stating they had no knowledge of this, then how can we at the same time say that it was done in a transparent fashion and that it was done with the help of the law enforcement? I think it's a very sad situation where this thing is headed. But this is not the first case of this type of stuff happening. These things are happening while our numbers here in the United States are growing and growing and growing of the tragic loss of life as it surrounds these opioids as well as fentanyl and other things, all these other different types of drug related uh, deaths. I think it's terrible to see that these are the lightweight ways in which we're handling this. This is sad, and I know that there are so many more cases. As you can see, the story that we just shared right before this, when I stated that there was one that I put up an hour ago. For those who did not get a chance to see it, I would like for you to take the opportunity to go and see it. I'll show it to you now, but if you don't mind going and watching it, as well as giving this video a thumbs up, if you don't mind going, looking at it, and then, viewing it, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If not, I understand. But I just want to say this is the outcome of something like what we're viewing here on this live. Okay. So I'm going to put this up for you
The
guys. I
CDC
want you
warned.
to see it. And let's see here. I'll let you show I'll share this with you now. But this is what the CDC is saying, and yet we're having these types of situations, and I don't know why we think it's strange that this is going on. If we hear what the numbers are from the CDC themselves, and I don't believe they're fudged, especially in light of the fact that we just saw this particular coverage. Okay, so for everybody who's not seen it, here it is. For those of you who have seen it, thank you so much for your patience. The
The
CDC
CDC
warns
warns
overdose
overdose
deaths have
death.
hit a record. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 107,000 Americans died of drug overdoses last year. The CDC released their provisional 2021 data that shows a 15% increase from the previous year. The CDC uses death certificates and then makes an estimate to account for delayed and incomplete reporting. CDC shows that deaths have continued to increase over the past few years. Over 70% of nearly 71,000 drug overdose deaths in 2019 involved an opioid, and nearly 841,000 people have died since 1999 from a drug overdose. In 2019, 70,630 drug overdose deaths occurred in the United States. The age adjusted rate of overdose deaths increased by over 4% from 2018 20.7 per 100,000 to 2019, 21.6 per 100,000. Opioids, mainly synthetic opioids other than methadone, are currently the main driver of drug overdose deaths, and 72.9% of opioid involved overdose deaths involved synthetic opioids. Opioids were involved in 49,860 overdose deaths in 2019. That's 70.6% of all drug overdose deaths. The drug overdose deaths involved psychostimulants such as methamphetamine are increasing with and without synthetic opioid involvement. From 2018 to 2019, the largest increase in death rates involved synthetic opioids occurred in the West, with 67.9%, and Alaska saw a 75% increase in 2021, the largest jump of any state. And in Hawaii, the deaths did fall by 2%. The largest increase in death rates involving psychostimulants occurred in the Northeast in 43.8% of the cases. Previously, the East had the highest increases in deaths involving synthetic opioids, and the Midwest had the highest increases in deaths involving psychostimulants. No state experienced a significant decrease from 2018 to 2021. For Headlines with a Voice, this is Felicia Lockhart. Okay, so we heard that, and now I'm going to take you to a story that it's not even a story, it's actually from the DEA.gov. And these are their findings. And this was done, actually, believe it or not, in 2020, the fentanyl flow to the United States. Okay. So it says here the executive summary: the flow of fentanyl to the United States in 2019 is more diverse compared to the start of the fentanyl crisis in 2014, with new source countries and new transit countries emerging as significant trafficking nodes. This is exacerbating the already multifaceted fentanyl crisis, and by introducing additional source countries into the global supply chain of fentanyl, fentanyl related substances, and fentanyl precursors. Further, this complicates the law enforcement operations and policy efforts to stem the flow of the fentanyl into the United States. While Mexico and China are the primary source of countries for fentanyl and fentanyl related substances trafficking directly into the United States, India is emerging as a source of finished fentanyl powder and fentanyl precursor chemicals. This is drastic and very sad. Here it shows for China. Currently, China remains the primary source of fentanyl and fentanyl related substances trafficked through international mail and express consignment operations environment, as well as the main source of all fentanyl related substances trafficked into the United States. Seizures of fentanyl sources from China, the average less than 1 kilogram in weight and often test above 90% of the concentration of pure fentanyl. This I will leave down below in the link for in the description for you guys, and you can read it. And it will break down all of the three places that they have mentioned. Then it also gives you the overlook, and for the overlook, it says the flow of fentanyl to the United States is the near future. In the near future, will probably continue to be diversified. The emergence of India as a precursor chemical and fentanyl supplier, as well as China, newly implemented regulations have significant ramifications. I'm sorry. For how, let me put this up a little bit for me so I can see it. Okay. It says here, right here, the emergence of India as a precursor, chemical, and fentanyl supplier, as well as China, the newly implemented regulations have significant ramifications for how TCOs, fentanyl, and fentanyl precursor chemical supply chains will operate. Mexican TCOs are likely poised to take a larger role in both the production and the supply of fentanyl and fentanyl containing illicit pills in the United States, especially if China's proposed regulations and enforcement protocols are implemented effectively. Fentanyl production and precursor chemical sourcing may also expand beyond the currently identified countries, as fentanyl lacks the geographic source boundaries of heroin and cocaine, as these must be produced from plant based materials. Again, that is from the DEA. And this is what they had to say about this. And again, this was done in 2020. So it's beyond the war on drugs. We're past that. We're past that. It looks as if, even if you look at this particular unclassified document here, it's it's just a war period, and it's very sad because these are countries that we are overarching our backs to help and to support. When you look at how much of China is here in the United States and what we have as an agreement with the current administration, we are their partners. Whether we, the people on our level would like to admit it or not, we are most assuredly their partners. And then with Mexico, as well as all of the other countries using Mexico as a thoroughfare into the United States. You see, everything that we're seeing come across that border, as we all know and we're all educated to know, is not from Mexico itself. Mexico has been used as a thoroughfare as well. They are breaking all agreements that were made. You see, the people that come from over the other side of the Mexican border are supposed to be detained or sent back. They're not supposed to even be able to get through here. I don't know whether anybody knew that or not, but they're not even supposed to get through this way. They're not supposed to use it as a thoroughfare. They're not supposed to be able to cross the street coming from whatever countries that they come from, and then come here. Muammar Gaddafi was very wise when he made a statement, and he said that he didn't understand why they wanted to infiltrate his place, and he didn't know why he wanted them to, to sort of back down and relent. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, he basically said that if this place is open, it's an actual open hole. He said from all of these other countries straight through to the United States, straight through to Europe. He said that. And now we're seeing a great deal of individuals from foreign countries, far and wide, using Mexico as an open door into our country, which also has open doors. I ask that everybody continue to lift up this nation and take care of yourselves and take care of your communities. I appreciate all of you guys for being here. This is a very terrible story when you consider that everybody here has at least one time known somebody who has been affected. If you look at the state of California, well, what's walking on the streets in San Francisco? What's walking on the streets there, even in beautiful San Diego and in beautiful Orange County? They're literally peppering the roads as if zombies. They literally are. I'm not saying something that's not true. They're literally walking up and down the roads. And then the United States would have a city or a state within itself that would actually allow a state to say that it's okay for people to receive assistance to use these uh, terrible things, these terrible drugs. We've got San Francisco, as well as a few other states that say, "Well, hey, we'd rather help you to do this than to allow you to do it and get yourself hurt." So I'm going to say hello to Damned Yankee's daughter. How are you today? You say most illegal fentanyl is from China. Absolutely, we just said that. Yes. Robert Imstall, how are you? Hello, Sister Sandy Aaron. Not a crisis at the southern border. It's the plan. And Rachel says, they just showing their love for mankind. Hey, how are you this evening, Ronald? It's good to see you, my brother. All right. Okay, let's see who else do we see here. Let's see. Mary La Piccolo. Piccolo? Lo Piccolo. Hello. How are you? It's good to see you. Zeb Johnson, it's good to see you. Very good to see you. Hey, Michael John, how are you? Shalom, my brother. It's good to see you. Very good to see you. Okay, Vine Dressers Branch, it's excellent to see you. I'm glad that you're here this evening. And Live in Missouri's Outdoor, it's great to see you. And Rage Against the Machine. Wow, a nurse stated years ago that they used it in patches for patients. Yes, they are. They did then, didn't they? Rich Spillman, how are you? You say it's too much info? Okay, baby. Well, you got to be able to make sure that when you get all in all you're getting that you get understanding. Absolutely, Ronald. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. That's right. Very good, Michael John. Mhm. Hello, Starfire Horizon. You say you tuned in just for the end? Yeah. Cheryl, how are you? Cheryl, Kentucky girl, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Very good to see you. Hey, R. Jones, I saw you at the very end when we had already concluded the last live, and I wanted to say hi to you. So it's very good to see you. Very good. Let's see. Rich Spillman says George is still fentanyl free. Okay. All right. Let's see who else have I not greeted, have I not read. Oh, Daniel Pray, how are you? People don't care anymore about their health. Oh, well, let's hope that they do. Let's hope that people are getting it together. Let's just hope, right? And David Bruce, how are you? It's so good to see you. Anthony Van Zandt, how are you? I'm doing wonderful. It's good to see you, my brother. Great to see you. Let's see, from the pharmaceutical manufacturers through dualities, nonprofits they that are anything but nonprofit, marginal community program agencies. Toronto city halls, huh? Oh wow, they dole it out directly from the companies. That's not cool. Not cool at all. That's not cool. Let's see. Living Missouri's Outdoors says most effective trafficking ever is by our. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I think you're right on that one too. I think all of you guys are right. You all have very good points and they're very valid and they're very true. All right, you guys, please make sure that before you leave that you do check and make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel. And then please, if you don't mind hitting that like button, I would surely appreciate it. If you'd like to join me this coming um, Wednesday and Friday, because tomorrow I will not be um, on Blog Talk, but I will be there Wednesday, Friday. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday going forward, Hey Plays in the Dirt, you can meet us at 2 o'clock p.m. on the Blog Talk Radio by dialing 515-605-9357. You can either listen or you can press the number 1 and become a part of the show, ask your question, or let your voice be heard. I would really, really like to see you guys there. No one is talking about Lake Mead. Bruce, David, we did. You remember, I'm not sure if you were here, but we most assuredly did. I'm not sure if I called it Where is the Water, but I know we went over each one of those. We went over each and every one of the lakes and how they are depleted, not only here in the United States, but as well across the United States, as well as a bevy of other countries. And then we also juxtaposed that with the need of water. And we compared that to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, showing that not only is it the water that's being done, everything that we need is being put on Front Street, right? So yes, we did talk about that, and I hope that you're able to find that, David. Hope that you're able to see it. Oh, you mean normal people, not us crazies? Hey, Scott, it's good to see you. Okay, well, I got you, David. I feel you. I feel you. All right, folks. Well, it's about 30 minutes in, and I didn't want to hold you guys. I just wanted to bring these two stories together, as well as Synchro 505. Hey, to bring these together so we can sort of piece it all together. Um, wow, everybody's having a good time out there tonight. They're already doing their fireworks. Even in Michigan, the water is lower, you see. And next, we're going to be seeing everything go on with like we talked about that day while we were all together. Next, it'll be the energy because that's what helps it, right? The energy and all that other stuff. So, yeah, a hot mess. All right, you guys, I want you all to remember what we always say on any Felicia Lockhart um, publications, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but you know what? By every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. Cheryl says, I'm hearing so much about CERN on July 5th. Does anybody know what time that thing is supposed to be fired up? I've covered CERN at about 4 different videos, starting at the very beginning when they said that they were going to turn it on. And I believe my videos may have started back in late December, maybe at the top of this year. And then I progressed for each and every one. And then I also shared with CERN where you will see how many electron volts they hit at certain key points. So we followed it here. And then I want you guys to remember something that this thing has already been on. This is going to be at the highest. They broke their record a couple of months ago when we reported it here. They broke the record then. So that's when you saw all the cattywampousness in your neighborhood and you started feeling things that were a little different because they broke their record a couple of months ago. Yeah, they did. And what I do is I stay on their website. I go to their website and I look at it and I can actually see it, and you can too. You can also see their breakdown of when they put forth the internet. You'll see on their website, they tell you about each pivotal point that they started the internet, how they did it, the gentleman that worked for them that actually did it, and all that stuff. So it's actually a very interesting website to look at. It has a lot of interesting information and a lot of stuff. We've covered it here, and we've also covered it on the Lockhart Perspective. If you are not subscribed to the Lockhart Perspective, which is my other channel, the Lockhart Perspective, I would love to have you there. We do cover a lot more biblical things there, but we also cover things that happen here in the world and we juxtapose them to the word. We use the word as our actual standard for everything. I mean, because I believe that you can look and find the word in every situation that we're going through. Everything. You can find it in every situation. So if you are not a member or you're not subscribed to the Lockhart Perspective, please go over there and subscribe. I would love to have you. Also, if you're not a member here, such as Ronald Foose and a couple of other great folks, I would love to have you as a channel member here on Headlines with a Voice. A lot of people did not know that we have the ability to do super chats, that we do super hearts for publications that are not live. And we also have our members who do get some pretty nice things. So, on the Lockhart Perspective, that team of members has been around for a little bit longer, and so they have a lot of stuff. Thank you, Zeb Johnson. I'm glad to see that you did subscribe to the other channel. I appreciate it. What you could do is, if you look, you'll see that we've had things like Bible trivia and all kinds of stuff. So what I would like to do is to get those kinds of things, not necessarily Bible trivia here, but maybe world history trivia. And you guys get the opportunity to tell your answer, and it is closed off to just you. And we give some pretty nice prizes. So I would love to have a group of people here that we could do trivia as well as member only videos and member only chat that we could do here. So it's very inexpensive relative to a burger if you're still eating burgers. And so, if you don't mind joining us and supporting the channel monthly, I'd love to have you as a channel member here at Headlines with a Voice. Okay. You guys, again, I want you guys to remember again, I'm going to say it again because the word is always in season. That man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys, remember to take care of yourselves first, please. Please take care of you. Then after you do that, you can love on everybody else around you. All right? You guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Robbie V, you snuck in here on me. How you doing? Okay. And Wanda, you snuck in here on us too. How you doing, sister? All right, y'all. Y'all take care and be good. Bye-bye. Lockhart Perspective.